choosing. In Deuteronomy 30:15, he says, and I quote, "I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction." They had to make a choice. Culpability leads to confusion, which leads to a catharsis, and now conviction, or strong belief. Verse 16, "At this, the men greatly feared the Lord." I love this. "And they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him." Look at the vocabulary there. Feared, sacrifice, vows. More irony. These are the pagans. The pagans turned to God. What did Jonah do? He ran from God. What is your choice? Well, maybe you're saying, well, now they finally have proof. Now they can believe. Well, that's going against my thesis here. Why do you need proof to believe? Listen to Mark 15:37 through 39. "With a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last. The curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And when the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus saw how he died, he said, 'Surely this man was the Son of God.'" Are you that Roman officer? Are you that centurion where you need to see in order to believe? I don't know. I think real faith is believing without seeing. Look, there was a cynical man about 2,000 years ago who needed some proof on something, didn't he? He said, "Unless I see the scars, unless I put my hand in his side, I will not believe." Now, who am I talking about, of course? Thomas. What does Jesus say to him in John 20:29? "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." Which is more powerful, faith or proof? I'm going to say something that might sound odd, but let's say Jesus walked through that door now. Let's just say he walked in. Obviously, we'd all be euphoric. It would be wonderful. We all know the world needs Jesus now more than ever. But in a way, at that point, would we still need faith? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the chase, the thrill of the chase will be gone. I don't need to have faith if I see him here now. Of course, you could also argue that, well, we see him every day. We see signs of him every day. And that's my point. And that's where faith comes in. But it's the mystery. It's the unknown. It's our faith that drives us as Christians. My faith, right or wrong, says that these things have already happened. My faith tells me that, you know what, one day your lousy Eagles team is actually going to win a Super Bowl. Okay, my faith tells me that. Hasn't happened, but I believe it will. More importantly, my faith tells me that, you know what, you've now bought land in 2 states in the Midwest. You're eventually going to sell one of them, and I'm going to help provide for you while this happens. I don't know for sure that that's going to happen, but I believe it will. My faith, right or wrong, tells me that friends and relatives and people here who are suffering from cancer are going to be healed. Now, is that going to happen to 100% of the people who have cancer? Of course not. But my faith is not result-driven. And I hope you are the same way. It doesn't dwindle when we don't get our way. And that's what conviction is. Let me read Matthew 8, 5 through 10. This is another centurion. "When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help. 'Lord,' he said, 'my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly.' Jesus said to him, 'Shall I come and heal him?' The centurion replied, 'Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes. And that one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it.' When Jesus heard this, he was amazed, and said to those following him, 'Truly I tell you, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith.'" Wow. What a great thing to say. I would love for Jesus to say that about me. I would love for anyone to say that about any of you. I have not found anyone in Illinois with this great faith as you, Jack. Something like that. Now, doesn't that sound good? Now, that's our God. That's the God that we're talking about. So as we go to the application part here, we do need to go. It goes back to that word go. And I put up there, unfortunately, that many are lost. And they're ill-equipped to make the right choice. Look, I don't know about you. I don't know all your stories. But before I was a Christian, I barely knew how to live my life. God had to put someone in my life in order to remove the veneer and equip me to remove the blinders and enable me to make the right choices. I couldn't do that on my own. There are people out there who say, well, the gospel is unnecessary. It's old. It's inconsequential. It's rhetorical. What does it matter if I believe in it? Well, my response is, you probably view it as painful. Look, if we're doing our job as 21st century Christians, we're also mixing some of the bad news with the good. And here's why I say that. A lot of people think it's so painful because all these rules, and I got to go to church every Sunday. I got to miss football games and religion, and I don't want to follow these rules. Let me tell you something. This is how sick people think. Because one of the most liberating things, if not the most liberating thing in your life, is when you accept Christ as your Savior. Right? You've won the biggest battle in your life at that point. What's not to love? What's not to be liberated about that? Well, so what if the Bible says that this is a sin? I don't think it's a sin. And because I don't, that's really important. Okay, these are the type of people that we've got to really work with. What is the point of saving someone who does not believe that they're lost? Does that make sense? Look, when I'm driving home from church this afternoon, I know exactly how to do it. I've done it a million times now. Am I going to call a police officer and say, hey, can you help me get to Manhattan? Of course not, because I'm not lost. If you're drowning, if you're not drowning, I should say, and you're in the ocean, and a lifeguard comes and tries to save you, would that make any sense? Look, you're not going to schedule surgery on your knee when you have a healthy knee. You can't have the cure if you don't understand what the problem is. That's right. We need them to understand why it is that you need to go to the doctor. And maybe you are drowning and you just don't realize it. These are hard truths, but truths that we need to convey. Hopefully you can see this. It starts with facts. This is our salvation journey. Facts, we hear. Faith, we either believe or we don't. Feelings, I'm not a big feelings guy. However, you do have to understand some of what you're listening to in order to eventually be saved. But the bottom line is this. Trust conquers feeling. Because trust is the fuel in our journey. It is a choice. It is our choice to put flesh on the bones of our faith. But it is our choice. You choose to be here. Every one of you, whether you realize it or not. I choose to preach because I have a burning desire to share the gospel with people. I choose to tell others that Jesus Christ lived a perfect life, died the death that I deserve, rose again conquering sin, and will live evermore. As his body, we need to dedicate our lives to speaking these truths, to believe that ultimately Jesus will return, restore, and renew creation. Finally, as Christians, hopefully we choose to rest safely tonight under the blanket of knowledge that God provides to ensure us that, yes, I will complete my work. That's a choice. Forget about feelings. Those are facts, which lead to faith, which eventually leads to salvation. So who's going to join us on this journey? Well, it's not for everyone, is it? Does the Bible say wide is the road that leads to life? No, it says narrow. Narrow is the road that leads to life. So what we need to do, your charge this week, change the sailors into believers without throwing a man overboard. Is there anyone you know that absolutely refuses, and I got someone in my head, who refuses to believe unless they see indisputable proof? Gotta have hard evidence. That's one person I want you to reach out to Send them an email. Call them. Give them my number. Whatever. Let's try to reach those. And look, I know we say this all the time, and it's not easy to always invite people to church. Maybe invite them to your home. Have a meal with them. Get the ball rolling. Get the blood flowing, if you will. We talk about heaven and hell a lot, and that truly is a choice. There was a Christian woman who was talking about her faith outside one day. And she was quoting scripture and doing all that, and an atheist comes up to her and says, "You don't really believe all that stuff, do you?" And she says, "Well, yeah, actually I do." He says, "Really? You believe God performed all those miracles in the Bible?" And she said, "Yeah, I really do." "Well, how do you know that?" She said, "I don't know. I guess I'll ask him when I get to heaven." And he says, "Well, what if God's not in heaven?" "Well, you can ask him yourself." Forget about your feelings, folks. It's not about the feelings. It's about trust. Trust fuels everything. I don't need to throw a man overboard, hopefully, in order to convince others. That's our goal as Christians. Let them see what they can't see. We're talking about real trust, real belief, real faith. It's a real attitude that says, I do not need to walk around anymore with chains that Jesus has already broken. So perhaps you're struggling right now. Maybe you have not been baptized. Maybe you need to come forward for one reason or another. Well, there is a solution, and you know what that solution is. His name is Christ. He died so that you may live. But you have to choose to accept that invitation. No one's going to do it for you. You have to choose life, not death. Because the world can wait. Salvation cannot. Let's stand and sing. God is calling the bride.